We're learning,
fine.
right?
We should.
Yeah.
There should really be a more rigorous screening process to the people we bring on this
Hold
show.
on a second. Just bear with me on this one. Wouldn't it be funny to use Trump's toupee as teepee?
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't know. Like, I feel like then I'd end up leaving orange skid marks on my underwear.
Oh,
Been
okay.
there, done that. my
okay.
friend.
we're steering away from politics.
You're right.
That was
Yeah,
too
yeah,
much last week.
Yeah, let's
too
not.
much.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
calm down.
What are they called? The actual thing that he was talking about.
Bidet.
A bidet.
Day.
Never used one.
Never. I heard they're revolutionary.
They are absolutely amazing. Have you, Eric?
I have not used one.
I have an
but-
ex-girlfriend that has one, and oh my God, changed my life.
Wow.
I
The ex-girlfriend of the duvet.
both.
Okay.
bidet.
Bidet.
Who knows?
Bidet, Jack. Everybody knows except you. Apparently,
Okay,
it's
all
a bidet.
I've asked you 3 times what it's called, so
Yes, but you then repeated it as if you heard what I said,
true.
listened to it,
Bidet.
and understood.
Yeah, no, I do. So
So you use a toupee.
Go fuck yourself, Turnage. Go fuck yourself.
no, we're gonna move on.
That's good.
So, question:
Answer.
What are you 2-3 years out of graduation from high school?
Me?
Yes, you.
I've been graduated for 2 years now.
2 years.
I graduated in 18.
Okay, so 2 years ago, graduating high school, what kind of advice would you give that guy right now?
Oh wow.
Buy all the toilet paper.
Buy
sorry.
everything.
I'm sorry.
Just stock up on Purell now. You'll make thousands. No, I would honestly tell him to do everything the same. Just the whole this sounds dumb, but this is as simple as I can put it. Just be kinder and then to yourself and then believe in your capabilities more. I would say.
That's not dumb.
Yeah,
There's nothing dumb about that advice.
Yeah, I don't think that's dumb.
Yeah, I don't know why my brain was thinking dumb before I said it, but now I think smart.
Because you're young, and you know you have to do that like self-deprecating. Like,
Yeah.
well, I don't want people to think that this is what I really think.
It has nothing to do with being young, because Eric still does this kind of shit too. So
Well, yeah, but I'm young emotionally.
I'm not buying
Like
it.
I'm old physically.
I'm not buying
but
it.
like I'm like a 13-year-old.
What Eric is trying to say is, don't become a depressed, moderate
Alcoholic, yeah.
Because these kinds of things, if we say those things to ourselves, our brain will start doing something with it.
I believe it.
Like, straight up, your brain does not care what information you put inside it. It'll believe it. And if you're the one putting that information inside it, it'll believe it.
Which is crazy, because it's our brain that generates those ideas to begin with.
Yeah.
I just blew my own
Yeah,
mind.
that is mind-blowing, actually. That is intense, but yeah.
I don't know if I 100% agree with that.
Well, where else does it? The brain.
Well,
the brain is like it runs the whole thing. Without
Physically, right? Like
Yeah.
it's a part of the anatomy, and it does the things that we're talking about. But I firmly believe that there's a saying: we are spiritual beings having a physical experience, not physical beings having a spiritual one. And as to what spiritual means is like whatever. I don't care. There's too many different things to pull from.
We can just call it being.
Yeah, being. Like the idea of being conscious isn't necessarily about the operation of the brain. It's a lot more, because have you ever like genuinely felt inspired by something that was not of you?
Yeah, I think that's. Yeah, I guess so. I would say.
And
Not of me, meaning like coming from my mind.
Right.
Oh, I would consume a lot of media that would inspire me if that's.
I mean that's
the same.
That is a thing that I think what I was referring to more so is like this fucking great idea that like you on your best day normally wouldn't think.
Oh.
Like some of your comedy, like when you get up on stage. Sure, it's like some of the wild thoughts that you've like organized to come out in a articulate way. Mm-hmm. But I mean, like, dude.
Well, if you want to get, I'll maybe send. Have you read any Eckhart Tolle?
Yes.
Have you read The Power of Now?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Silent Speaks. The Silent Speaks one is more my speed than Power Now, but I think Power Now is just. It's a little bit too mainstream for me.
Oh, you think so? Yeah.
And it's just because there's I don't know. I'm a little weird when it comes to like what a lot of people like. I want to find like stuff with more depth. And
why did it take Dwayne so long to get to the ocean? Because he refused to take the mainstream. Sorry.
Climb back. What are you saying?
Huh?
You just have to, say something mean about Eric now.
That wasn't mean. Was that mean?
No, that wasn't mean.
Was that a mean thing
that was
to say?
actually very clever in a riddled form. It was great. I enjoyed from start to finish. Point is, I know what you're saying.
Okay.
I know what you're saying. I live with a roommate that feels that same way about music.
Right.
Absolutely. If everyone's loving this, he loves finding those artists that no one knows about.
Right.
That are popping right before
Yeah.
they hit the mainstream. I know that feeling that you feel, though. Absolutely.
Nate Ford and us were talking about that last week, actually, the music that, like, the people that are fucking amazing and no one knows about them. And, like, Nathaniel Farias, NF.
Oh, yeah. Big NFN.
I was listening to him
No
6-7 years ago.
freaking way, dude. Really?
Yeah, and it was mind-blowing how good it was, and it spoke to me because I was going through some shit, Same with Macklemore. Like, before Macklemore got super popular, his song Other Side, when he's talking about going through getting sober and fucking like his experience with Oxy and fucking
he helped me so much understand my uncle and all this stuff. That Macklemore is an artist right there.
Yeah. And I fucking hate that thrift shop
Oh, I bet
song
that made
now.
you so mad.
It was so because it played a million times on the radio and it's no longer good anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean although I feel like that's something that artists kind of have to do if they want to, like, if you want to break into them, like, yeah, you could be an underground darling your whole career,
right?
But if you want mainstream success, then you kind of have to, that's why, for as lyrical and as proficient at rap music Eminem is, his first singles on his first few albums were like poppy nonsense.
Yeah,
that just got people's attention because, like, oh, Eminem's got a new album coming out. So, the majority of the people didn't know who Macklemore was until Thrift Shop.
Yeah,
so that's what got eyes on the product.
Right.
And then some people, like myself even, were able to go back and listen to some older stuff and go, oh,
yeah,
he's actually pretty good.
I love that, Eric. Exactly. I'm grateful for Thrift Shop in that sense because of that popular hit song, I get to dive into Macklemore more.
Right.
And that's why I do appreciate some mainstream artists and stuff like that.
I definitely do. I still appreciate people that have become mainstream. It's just the ones that got them to be mainstream, not so much. Almost like Neon Cathedral. Have you heard that song?
I have.
That speaks to my heart so much, and I'm.
Is this a Macklemore song?
Oh, yeah.
Neon Cathedral?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. I'll have to remember to check that one out.
Yeah, it's
a great song.
Super good. And it kind of brings in this like religious vibe, and he's like you don't really think, unless you've experienced both alcoholism and sorry about that. Unless you've experienced alcoholism and the religious aspects of society, you might not appreciate it as much. And I can only speak for myself, I guess, because I have experienced both sides of that. It meant a lot to me. Mm-hmm. And anyways, I cut you off when you were talking about Power of Now.
Yeah, no, I was just getting that because the original question, I believe, was talking about my stand-up.
Yes.
In relation to, I forget what it was. No, we brought up the Power of Now because it helped me a lot understand myself emotionally. Because you argued something that Eric said about
being dumb. Yeah.
You're not being dumb, but the how his thoughts are the ones that create, and your brain will believe anything that you say.
Right.
And it'll believe anything that you tell it to, and then it's telling itself stuff in a way. And I agree with that. Absolutely. And I was saying, like, the Power of Now helped me separate my thinking from my being. It taught me that I'm not my thoughts.
Right.
And that thinking is just one aspect of intelligence, and that there's an entire different realm of emotional being that you can explore that I didn't realize in every art form applicable. Like the more you understand emotions, the more you understand art, I feel like.
Yes.
And so once I kind of nicked myself into that level of not necessarily like thinking of words that were funny or anything, like funny ideas or concepts, just like how I feel emotionally and how I can respond to my emotional feelings and to the real world.
Right.
It took it to another whole dimension for me.
Hell yeah.
And art in itself. So
yeah.
And I think, and not just art, I would say just being a person.
Yeah.
I feel like
the way you're able to interact with the world around you.
Or anything, actually more of the way I interact to things.
Right.
Like, like my response to the world helped me understand that more and why I respond to certain ways that I do. And that way I can choose my response now. If I understand what my, natural response is, I can counteract it and then respond in a way that's more fitting to the situation.
Right. Dude, I'm seriously in awe by your 20-year-old self right now.
Mm-hmm.
This is the way you're describing that right now is something that I didn't grasp until in my late 20s.
Mm-hmm.
So, like
Yep.
I admire not only your ability to acknowledge that, but your ability to articulate it and describe it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I feel like the only reason that I'm capable of doing so is because it's because of my red hair in a way. Actually, it's it's very fascinating. But I was always as a kid would always be like, because I was homeschooled, and then entered public school in 6th grade.
Right.
Ooh.
Oh, so rough.
Oh,
my father did me
that's a
dirty.
rough, That's a rough age to be thrust into if you hadn't. Oh man.
Oh yeah. No.
I'm sorry.
No adult world. No contact with the outside world until 6th grade, basically.
You had not developed your social skills.
Not developed my social skills. So I literally was thrust into it, and I was like, I was at that age where it wasn't like life is just happening to me. You can kind of choose where you want to go and kind of stuff like that. So I was like, well, why am I suffering? Why are these kids responding to me in this way? Why do I do this? It really made me. It made me think two things that like I'm not shit, so I might as well build myself to a place where I feel like I am shit,
dude.
And then how do I do that in a way that's articulate, and you do that by fixing the stuff that you're doing wrong,
right,
and then making that the base and then building up. So that helped me a lot. So it's really the whole journey started in 7th grade.
Okay.
So.
And you attribute that to being a redhead?
Yeah, no, redhead, because it was the pinpoint. I don't think it would ever began. I would have taken personally the kids. I would have taken it personally by the kids and kind of rebelled in that sense of like, oh, screw you guys,
Right.
I'm the thing. But I genuinely, can't stand red hair. I literally was like, I made me side with them. It really did, because I was always like, this red hair stinks, man. Yeah. I'm on their side. And so I was like, how can I get on their side more? And it made me view myself the way they viewed me. And once you view yourself through other people's eyes, you can see, oh, I guess, you know what? I am dumb in that way. Oh, I
Which
do
is
that.
sort of like, laughing at yourself before you give them a chance to laugh at you. And so that if they're you're already laughing, so they can't get you if you already, because I'm 36 years old. I've been divorced. I have a child, and still sometimes when I see you, I just want to needle you. And it's not because it's not because I don't like you, because I do. I think you're a good kid, and I think you've got talent and all of that stuff. But there's just something that makes me want to go, I gotta fucking get him.
Yeah,
I gotta get him, and I don't know why. I don't know why.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I quickly realized that in 6th grade that people just have, and especially as kids feeling that feeling.
Oh, yeah.
If you're an adult, you can be like, I don't know why I feel this way. I'm not going to act on it. But kids feel that way, and they go, well, I feel this way. I'm going to act on it. Yeah. So they would always, I spent the first couple of years of my, career dealing with just that emotion, just addressing that emotion people told me. And the way I addressed it was making them laugh.
Right.
So, and literally comedy was like last hand. Comedy was second hand. I never thought of myself as a funny guy. I thought it was a tool I used to get myself where I want to go.
Okay.
I think that's how most of us become comedians in the first place. Because
Yeah.
you use humor to kind of combat trauma or negative things that happen in your life. And you're like, well, if I don't laugh at this, then what am I even doing?
Where do I go from here?
Otherwise, you're just miserable all the time. Yeah, no. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Makes a lot of sense.
Dude, random.